I'm going to show you how to make smoother transitions in our popular herringbone weave bracelet. And before we had you tying off one color, creating a knot in the back, and then starting with a new color, but this time we've come up with a way of weaving it in so it's relatively seamless and that knot doesn't irritate your skin when it's being worn. So I have my Greek leather strapped up to my board, and if you want to see the full-length video, please refer to our YouTube station BShop1, and we have the herringbone wrap bracelet, the full video up on there. But today I'm just going to be covering the transition. I have started with my Greek leather that I have strapped to my board, and I'm using wax linen to create my herringbone weave. Traditionally we have used Chinese knotting cord in the past, but today I am using a different material because I like the way that it looks and I want to switch it up. So I've started with my slate blue, and I'm going to be transitioning into my turquoise here pretty soon. But just to refresh your memory, the herringbone weave, you're kind of weaving in and out in a figure-8 pattern through the legs of the leather. So the right cord goes over the right leg of the leather, in between the legs, and underneath the left. Left cord goes over the left leg, in between, and under the right. And then you can just kind of tighten them up. Just like so. I'm just going to do a few more wraps, and then I'm going to transition into my next color. Okay, I've decided to transition into my next color, so I'm going to cut my desired length of turquoise here. And I'm not going to do anything with these legs just at the moment. If you want to get them out of the way, if you're using a cord that's not so waxy and stiff, you could use a couple pieces of Scotch tape and just go ahead and secure them like so they kind of run parallel to the leather. But since we're using wax linen and it kind of holds its form, we're just going to leave it like that. Take my new color, bend it in half, bring it behind at the midway point, the slate blue and the Greek leather, and we are seriously just going to go right into weaving as though that cord's not even there. Right is going to go over the right leg through the legs. Left is going to go over the left through the legs. And it may be a little confusing when you first get started, but you're going to want to kind of pull these as you go and take your time, making sure that you're covering that new color, or that old color, excuse me. So, right, over the right and over this right cord here, in between the legs, and pull. Left, over the left, through and under the right, and pull. And you can see that the slate blue is kind of becoming one with the leather legs. And if we just take a look at the back here, we see that it is covering it pretty well. We can always go back in there on tweezers after the fact and kind of straighten it out. My recommendation is to weave, I would say, 6 to 7 stitches on each side before you cut your old color off and just weave the new. And I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. So we got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches on each side. I'll go one more, and then I'll feel pretty confident that these are woven in fairly tightly. Before I take my thread snips and just cut the slate blue away really, really close, making sure not to cut the turquoise, and go right back in. In our previous video we use a thread burner, but with wax linen, since it's natural material, you don't want to use a thread burner with that because it'll just singe right through. thread burners are typically only good for synthetic materials because it'll help cauterize it, as synthetic materials typically have nylon. I hope you enjoyed this little tip on our herringbone weave. I'm Brittany Ketchum from beadshop.com.